the meeting to order. Please join me with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B, recording of the roll.
All present.
Item C, approval of the consent agenda. Any changes we need to be aware of?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, second by Commissioner Seymour to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item D, approval of the agenda. It's my understanding that we need to remove item P and that we need to add item W1, consider resolution 014-019, recognizing Friends of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park as a nonprofit organization for the purpose of obtaining a gaming license for a raffle.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Kare to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item E, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are on the agenda. A 3-minute limit, please, and if you're able to please approach the podium and state your name. Nope. Okay. Item F, presentation of Colonel Menke to the JROTC certification or certificate of appreciation. I know the last weekend that we had our cleanup, and it is a great pleasure to have those kids come and help us with the cleanup. You guys do a wonderful job. I appreciate everything that you guys do. You do a lot for the city in every other instances, and it's just great to have you guys around. So we'd like to award you guys to the public.
Let me just add here, again, every time we call over to the high school with different things that are going on in the community, we ask them to get some help. It's always yes. I mean, this is a group that gets it done. It's not always easy, but they make it happen, and they're in here with the book sales, setting up tables, the prom, you name it, they're over here helping in many different fashions, and it's always a yes. I've never heard, and they make it work, so we really do appreciate that.
I appreciate everything they do. And actually, I have 2 plaques here. We have one for the GROTC, and we have one for Colonel. He is retiring, and he has done a phenomenal job. But he does a great job incorporating connection between the city government and the youth of our area. He is a role model for all of us. He is respected by his troops that do a wonderful job. He's a very admirable and valuable person, citizen in our community, and I just really like to thank him for everything that he's ever done. And like you said, Scott, when you ask them, they're there for our help. So again, another round of applause for the Colonel as well.
One of the things I want to do is introduce some people that were able to come with me. Noah, we just got him from the, what were you doing before? This is Noah Terzano, and this is Adam Ludwig, and this is Mr. Eric Terriman. And these are the people that do the work. I get them here from point A to point B, but I'll tell you what, these are the folks that do the work in JROTC. And we've got guys, we've got ladies that do the same stuff. Most of the ladies that we had that were supposed to come here tonight are playing, they're either being inducted into the National Honor Society or they are playing baseball down in Lakeland this evening. So these are the folks that need around.
Here, good. And they're coming to you.
Okay. So here. Sorry, I was standing in front of this way.
This is where the room is.
Oh, excellent.
It's for our,
Would you take that in?
junior ROTC folks.
Switchman, sweet, nice. Yeah. Lovely.
All right, we have one more for the colonel. He's a big part of us as
Or
well.
Dave?
Not allowed to retire.
Yeah. No, I kind of got to do that.
You too.
Sure.
Pleasure doing business with you. Great to have
Not a problem.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You got it? I got the name.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Always nice to start a meeting with some good news.
Yeah.
Item G, presentation from Aspenwood, Friends of the Minor Memorial Heritage Park, Arts in the Park.
Good evening, I'm Paul Kostelnik. I'm here to, well, I'm the publicity chair, board member for Friends of the Miners Park. And we want to conduct an event this summer. We're planning an event. We're starting actually tomorrow with the fundraising part of it. But I want to give you a heads up before we get publicity comes out and that sort of thing. Here is the executive summary for our project. Tasks and events are listed on the left-hand side, 1 through 12. There's 12 weeks across the top. But draw your attention to the bottom left, and that really describes what our project is about. We're going to go out and canvas for artists to provide 12 art pieces to put in the park for 1 month during the summer. We're going to start on, we're going to open up the Art in the Park event on the 28th of June. It'll run through the 4th of July through Ironwood Fest. We're looking at Ironwood Fest to award prizes to the top 3. Well, to all the first 12 artists will get prizes for what they're doing. The top 3 will get significant prizes for what they're doing. We'll award those during Ironwood Fest, and then we'll close out the art exhibit a week after Ironwood Fest, so give people a chance to come back and take a look at the prize winners. We're starting this week with press releases and a fundraiser. We're going on the internet, on the Kickstarter program site, and we're going to run a campaign to raise, our target is $3,400. We'll split $3,000 of that to go out to prizes to the top through the 12 artists that are showing up for the summer. The other $400 will be fees and the cost of some of the rewards that we'll be sending out. So we've got a plan, we've got publicity set up, we've got a fundraiser set up. We've made some contact with local artists. We've got at least 6 names that have been kicked around of people that want to do it, whether or not they get prizes, and they're still interested in doing it. With the prizes, we feel that it'll really bring in it'll get us the 12 artists that we want, and it'll bring us some higher caliber artists who will be willing to compete for a $1,000 first prize. And for the other 12, they at least get something for their efforts. So any questions?
Very interesting. I just have a question. What kind of art are we going to have, or what we see, or is that going to, you don't know yet?
We really don't have any idea.
Okay.
It could be anything.
Okay.
We've, within the miners group on our group Facebook page, we've been sharing some different pictures. But it could be an arch made out of vines and twigs and trees and things like that. There's some impressive ones that people have done. There's a tree hugger picture where it's a family going up to a tree and hugging it, all made out of twigs. So there's about 5 or 6 stick figures, but very nice stick figures that do that kind of thing. We've seen rock stacking. There's impressive demonstrations of rock stacking. Google rock stacking, there's a whole page and some really amazing stuff. So it's all sorts of things, it's up to the artists. Now, we're looking for environmentally friendly installations, so it's not gonna hurt the park. If they do any construction or any painting, we're asking for drop cloths and things like that to protect any kind of runoffs. And we're also looking for family friendly. So we're not just gonna accept anyone, it has to fit a family friendly theme.
Very nice, nice to see something new and exciting.
Well, this will be a nice addition to both the 4th of July weekend and the Ironwood Festival weekend, and that month of July, to give something else, another event going on here in Ironwood. And we hope, if this is successful, we hope to carry it on in the future.
Commissioners, any questions, comments?
Well, I think one thing probably didn't point out was the fact that the winners will be selected by the people who go and view the art.
There'll be a public vote.
There will be ballots, maybe at the trailhead,
Right.
you can vote, and that's how the winners will be selected.
I guess I have a question. So, what happens if your Kickstarter doesn't gain all the money that you're looking for? I'm just asking.
Well, the artists we've talked to so far wanted to do this before they even heard about prizes.
Okay.
And if we don't get Kickstarted, then we won't attract, might not get 12 artists.
Sure.
But we've got at least 6 right now that are showing interest.
Okay.
So we get between 6 and 12. And we won't, without the big prize, we probably won't attract the caliber of artists that we'd like to see there. But we still plan on going forward with it. As a backup plan, I really haven't discussed it with the rest of the people, but if we get close, some of that money is going to be pledged by people around here. We may still be able to get some donations for prizes.
So the other, I guess my other question is something completely different. So as of this point, you guys have approached the 6 people who you want, right? Is that correct? How do you just go by word of mouth and say, hey, I've heard this person's creative and do it, or are you going to open it up and ask for people to participate, or I guess how
We've got a call for art flyer that we're going to distribute over at Z-Place and Adapt. It'll go up on Facebook and web pages. It'll be mentioned in a news article. We'll put out a press release saying we're looking for anyone. We're looking for people from the region. We can go as far as Washburn and the artist colonies up over there, down to Minocqua, Rhinelander, anyone. Particularly, we get that thousands of dollars, and people will be able to watch the campaign as it goes along. So as we get close to that deal, up close to our goal, we should be attracting people within the whole region. We're looking forward to this. We think it's exciting.
Absolutely. Anything else? Steve, Paul?
Great.
All right, thank you.
Item H, presentation, Michael J. Brown, Community Development Director, update on the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. So, give you an update on the comp plan. The Planning Commission has been meeting and talked about the draft. Internally, the plan has been reviewed by you as well as other boards and commissions and staff. And now we're to the point where we're going to be opening it up to the public. Today, the draft plan is now active on the project website, which is www.ironwoodcomplan.com, or it can be also found on the city's homepage with a link directly to it. So the draft plan is there. It's open for public review and comments. There's actually also a SurveyMonkey tool on the website that you can do, leave comments, and so forth. On May 19th, next Monday, at the Memorial Building, between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m., we will be holding an open public house on the comprehensive plan to invite the public in to review the plan, talk with staff, talk with consultants, talk with the Planning Commission and other community members about the plan. There'll be a chance for the public to leave comments, write out comment cards, there'll be poster boards up to talk about, we'll have a presentation, and also the computer will be there with the plan on the website to look at the interactive features within the comp plan. So, just just want to get that word out, let you know about it, and again, you're all invited to that if you're able, to come and see what's been going on, and as you are aware, you've been following plan with my updates and the review of it. We did review it about a month ago and talked about the plan, so I just want to give you that update on where we're at and the meeting that's coming up. I've talked with the Globe, and they're going to be doing a story, I believe, as well on the public meeting next week. And I can answer any questions you have at this point.
Sounds good. Commissioner, any questions, comments at this time? Thank you, Michael. Takes us to old business. Item I, update on the light on Kilburn Cedar Street.
Hi, hope you're on the screen. We have another PowerPoint. If you remember, on December 9th of 2013, we had a public hearing on this property. Part of the public hearing was encroachment upon city property, and then also the debris and vehicles and things on the property. You guys had voted to bring it back in the first meeting in May of 2014. In this picture, this is actually Water Street. The property line is probably in the middle of that wood pile, and the right-of-way goes to the right-hand side. This is the south end of the property. Ken, who was here tonight, had stacked up some stuff. I know some of that's probably on the boulevard and under the sidewalk underneath there. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're in the process of, we just got it in the pile, and as you can see, we've got quite a bit done on that side, and if you took pictures at the front, you can see that, so kind of just staging it there as we're working on things.
Do you want me to just operate? So you saw those two?
Right there, that is the northwest corner of the building, and you can see the debris scattered throughout there. Go to the next photo. This is a pile of debris which actually is on that northwest corner of the building, which most of this is on city landlord property. There's a couple of views from the front, which is Cedar Street right here. Also, our industrial ordinance requires covers on piles. We've had a lot of complaints from the neighbors on the piles and the material that's on site. And these photos were actually taken this morning. So I don't know if you guys had any questions or if you want to talk to Ken about it.
Well, you could have taken a couple of pictures of what we did do down there. As long as we were down there. I mean, we got the whole south side where you saw the stacked poles and that. All the piles are there, all those timbers.
Do you want to wait
see
till
the piles up in
Ken,
there?
do you want to wait for item K?
I assume if we're talking about his property, I mean, I would think he'd.
The K is a different item that Ken has, just for his neighborhood,
Okay.
separate from this.
Yeah, that's a
Alright.
separate
That's the
item
same issue.
altogether.
My apologies.
So if you could get a picture of the piles again, yeah, you can see up and to the left of the bulldozer, the gravel has been moved there, the gray rock next to granite, the sand pile has been put there. What they didn't take pictures of is on the other side of the sand pile, all those, no, you can't see it. You can just,
Go back to the beginning?
yeah, just stay back to the one. If you were taking a picture, yeah, if you were taking a picture from the street on the other side of the sand pile, there's all those, this side of the sand pile is all bridge beams, railroad bridge beams, like all scattered all over the place. And those are all neatly stacked on the other side if you come by and look from the street side there. There's 3 stacks of those all stacked neatly, all those material piles. If you were to look to the left of these railroad ties and cedar posts, that whole area, like half of the lot is clear and clean. And what we did is we started on this about a week and a half ago. There was snow when I was there with my excavator working myself Friday. There was still piles of snow I was going through. So to the left of what you can see there by the railroad ties is basically a mud pit that I went with my excavator, and it's all cleared. And what we were doing was working to the north and bringing stuff back over for a permanent spot. And you have to remember that when they did the work in back, the EPA, all this stuff was stacked. Keith Johnson way back when gave me permission to stack everything back there. So all this stuff was crammed into a small spot, and they gave us 2 weeks to move it, so it all got tossed there. And we did a lot of work last summer, and as soon as it was nice enough, we started working on this, and I'm kind of upset that they wouldn't take a picture of what we did do and just take pictures of the mess that's left, because that's not fair, I don't think. So, but we've worked every day we could possibly work there. Whenever my excavator's been there, which has been most of the time, one of them was out on a job, we won't be able to get back, the load restrictions off. But we've been working steady there, and I've got a couple of guys working steady. So you can take pictures of all the mess in that, but there should be one picture of all the cleanup too. So we have been working on it. The snow just went, the snow pile just disappeared a week and a half ago. So it's a muddy mess, yet we're still working on it.
I did go by there. You can see the work you've been doing. It's very clear.
Thank you.
It's very clear that you, I can see it. I can see the big mud, just to the west of your building. And I know how hard it's been. And when we gave you this deadline, who knew that this was a spring impact?
Oh, right.
And so, do you feel that 2 more weeks you should have this pretty well paved up, or what are you thinking?
I'd say 30 days, because the thing is it's raining, and the topsoil pile is still wet. If I move the topsoil pile, that's the last thing to get moved. If I move that now and it's wet, the dry stuff, it's going to get all mixed, and that'll be a wet mess the whole season. So what the plan was to get, like I said, the salt line is all set, and probably, I don't know how wide it is, 75 feet or whatever, is all clear, ready for the materials to start coming and get put in place. So, there's still a lot to do. So, like I said, the EPA, when they came, not long, and we just kind of tossed everything in place, and we are working on operation. You know what I mean? So like you see the culverts and, a pile of blocks here and that, we are getting to this stuff one thing at a time. 2 weeks I could have a good chunk of it done, I'm sure we could come down and see another good chunk of progress.
Right.
But I hate to say that we all finished up in 2 weeks. I'd say 30, give me till the next meeting, I'll have it all done.
It is so wet.
Right.
It's obvious how wet it is.
Right.
I'd be inclined to give Mr. Funner another month. He is working on it. It's pretty clear. He took a look.
Oh, I agree. Considering the spring that we've had, the wet weather that we've had, the snow is still around. And I'm in favor of 30 days. That seems reasonable.
Do we need to take any action on that?
We should take action, because the action was to address at this meeting, if you want to take action to extend it 30 days, or maybe to the first meeting in June.
First meeting in June.
Set that.
I'll make a motion that we extend Mr. Funner's grace period until the first meeting in June.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kerr to allow Mr. Farner for the first meeting in June to rectify the blight that is on his property. Any further discussion or concerns on this? Questions, comments? All those in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'll bring my own pictures of the progress next time.
Nope, we got one more ahead here. Item J, discuss and consider paving roads with Riverside Cemetery.
Thank you. We've been talking about this probably over the last few years, trying to figure out a strategy to get the roads paved in the Riverside Cemetery during this budget. process. We've had some more discussion on that. We've done some engineering estimates on what it would take to pave the roads in the cemetery. If you look at the next map, this map shows you what roads were paved in the past, the ones that are dark. The other roads are gravel right now. The ones that are dark or black, it's about 3.4 miles of street or road that's in the cemetery. And to do a pulverize and pave of those roads, you're looking at about $100,000 of cost. That's our estimate. And again, this is a budget consideration. If you do want to move forward with this, there would need to be some ordinance changes, because what would be proposed is to use the perpetual care fund for this. That's set by ordinance at $500,000. You could, with an ordinance change, use some of those funds to do the paving and then pay that back over a defined period. Or if there's other thoughts that you have on it. Yeah. So if you want to have some discussion on that, some direction to staff. I know we're talking about it during the budget process. We'll bring back some more information to the commission during the budget process.
I had a question earlier and I forgot to ask it, so I'm going to ask it now. So we pay interest on that, is that correct?
If it's a home, if you do an internal home,
Where does that, do we pay the interest to ourselves? Or
it
do we
would be
pay
an
to
internal, yeah, there would be, we suggest that you do put interest on it, because I know that $500,000 is set aside, is gaining interest
Yeah.
For the maintenance of the cemetery. If there were an internal loan where you used $100,000 of that and we're paying it back in general fund dollars, we would recommend that you set an interest rate also,
Alright.
just to be fair to that other fund.
How much is in the perpetual care fund? Is it the 500,000 or is there any extra at all?
500,000.
Well, I think it's been a while since we've done any work in the cemetery. I would support going out and using, the perpetual care fund, that's what's there for, to work in the cemetery. I would support moving forward with this progress.
I would too.
If you wanted to give direction, I guess the direction would be to bring back a ordinance revision for you for consideration.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we direct city staff to revise the ordinance to allow us to borrow the money from the perpetual care fund to do projects like this.
For the cemetery.
For the cemetery.
For the cemetery. Yeah.
And we'll bring back some language for the ordinance. Again, there would be a public hearing process with that, so the public can weigh in on it with you. So we'll go through that process and sort of if the commission does authorize it.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion by Commissioner Racino, second by Commissioner Tower to direct city staff to amend the ordinance to allow borrowing from the perpetual care fund to work on $100,000 worth of roads in the cemetery. That sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can you roll call?
Sure. Simo?
Yes.
Sim?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Gare?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes. Okay. New business, item K, discuss request from Ken Barnum, 117 Main Street, to use light in his area.
I gave Mr. Tower some of those pictures last time. I've lived in my neighborhood on May Street for 7 years, and it's kind of ironical I'm getting the torch put to me down in my place there, and I've been to the city, to just about every city official asking for something to be done in my neighborhood. And if you look at these houses, they're deplorable. I invite all of you commissioners to take a ride down May Street or the May Street alley between May and Grove Street. And there's some compelling pictures there. So I'm upset that, while I'm made to, clean up the mess down there, which I'm already get to do, and I don't have a problem with doing it. But I've been trying to get the city to do something with all those buildings in my neighborhood, and it's fallen on deaf ears. I've got family of skunks living in the house right next door to me. The neighborhood is overrun by woodchucks because they're under every garage and building. And like I said, I've seen just about every person in the city that would have anything to do with that, and that's fallen on deaf ears. So if this property was on Cloud Street, Lowell Street, Northland Street, there's no way it would be allowed. For some reason, it's allowed in my neighborhood. And I did a lot of work clearing land by my house and did a nice job cleaning it up and have the start of it, start of May Street cleaned up nicely. And like I said, 7 years, and I've had nothing but excuses, so I'd like this to be looked at, and I invite you, all your commissioners to take a ride on there and see what I'm talking about. And look at the pictures, you can see all the holes where the animals are living and things like that. And I've got children, you know, playing outside and stuff like that too, so. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of you guys, and maybe you guys can get something on it.
Mr. Farner, your previous property that we talked about, not yours, Jason, have you looked at the properties that he's talked about?
Yes.
Okay, and would they fall under the blight ordinance?
Some of them are blight, and some of them Dennis has had dangerous structure letters already this season on.
Okay.
I know the ones particularly, the one right next to you, I know was for sure sent a dangerous structure, so.
Yeah, there's 2 of them out.
Both sent down both? Okay. Yeah, I've sent numerous blight notices even already this season from some of the properties around Mr. Farner's property, because he has cleaned it up nice, and it looks way better in his house than it used to.
Well, the thing is, I was told by Dennis here last year, public safety was taking care of all the garages. Never heard anything on them. A couple of years ago, we sent a letter to this fellow that owns the 2 houses next to me, and his doctor sent a letter saying that he was ill and wasn't capable of dealing with these houses, and you know, that was 2 years ago, and he sent him another letter now. So I mean, what am I to expect from that? Another letter back from his doctor? You know, I don't know. Any other neighborhood in the city, I don't see this both places sitting there.
And again, the wheels have been put in motion to hopefully address some of the concerns that Ken has and neighbors have over in that area. Through the process, you have 2 processes. One is through blight, and you've got Jason handling that. That's, you know, outside debris, things like that. That can be addressed with that process. The other is actually condemnation of structures, and that's actually going in like we did with Cartloop, having public hearings, public meetings to actually bring those back to the city commission if they're not repaired by the owner within certain timeframes that are established. And then that comes back to you to review ultimately, and then if there's direction based on going through that process and get to the end of that and corrections have not been made, then the question comes up, do you want to condemn it? And if you condemn it, then other city funds to tear it down. So, but that process has started. Dennis, you know roughly how long that process takes?
Well, his first letter he gets 30 days to respond, and then if I don't hear nothing or nothing's happening within that, then I'll probably start with the condemnation. And that's another 30 days.
Okay. And the condemnation isn't something we just arbitrarily do either. I mean, Dennis does have to go out and look at the properties. It has to be a structural failure basically of the property, whether it be the foundation or the roof or walls, you know, that really you're tipping. But I think you have looked at that and determined that at least at this point these houses are at that level.
Yeah, they've been getting worse every year, and we could probably say that it is, you know, be up to that point that we could go through condemnation with it.
Are the owners paying their taxes on these structures?
Yes. The owner had big plans to refurbish both of these properties and make them into a tourist attraction. Nothing's happened in the last 5 years though with it. So last time, like Ken said, I did send him a notice on the buildings. I got a letter back from his attorney saying that he had heart problems and stuff. And rather than have a guy die because of a building, I was going to press it for that year. So but now we'll start again and see what happens.
So is it safe to say that we've made at least initial contact with most of these properties?
And the 2 houses adjacent to me, I even offered to, if there was a cost issue, I'd take the houses down myself if I don't have the property. So I offered that in there too. So.
Thank you.
Well, that certainly would help.
Right. They're not big houses.
Because the problem for us is that there are way more houses that need to be torn down than the dollars to do it with.
I understand that.
I've been down that street a lot of times, and they're terrible. They're really terrible.
And all I'm looking for is a commitment to get something done. You know.
Well, it sounds like the process is in motion. Guess we'll have an update in 2 months.
Or sooner, or later, but regularly, contact people within a month.
Oh, I agree with Mr. Farner that these places are beyond what any reasonable person would say is not good. I mean, they're terrible. We should do what we can, especially with this offer to help us out.
Just to be clear on the ability to, through the condemnation process, the city does not obtain ownership of the property. It's just a process that allows, a public process that allows the city to come in and remove the structure. It's still under the ownership of the property owner until such time as they would sell it or go tax forfeit.
So if we to condemn these, we couldn't get them torn down.
We can get them torn down, but you can't exchange, we won't own the property and give it to Ken in exchange for tearing it down. So
Right.
the property will not be under the ownership of the
Right.
city.
Well, it sounds like initial contact is made, and we'll just look forward to that follow-up on where we are with some of these properties. And thank you, Mr. Farner, for being here. And Commissioners, any further questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item L, discuss and consider awarding a bid for miscellaneous brass and scrap iron.
Thank you. Periodically, the city does get a little stockpile of metal or material. We did go out for bids to sell that material. We had 4 bidders, and the high bidder, if you will, let's see, here, was Chicago Iron, and we are recommending awarding the bid to Chicago Iron and sell it as miscellaneous scrap. It's essentially the water meters that we change out brass, and then there's some metal, old water mains, things like that, that have a scrap value to them.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid as described in item L.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Ayer to award the bid as described in item L. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Can do a roll call?
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item M, discuss and consider approving changing the order of business for the city commission agendas.
This is on your agenda, to try to, help people so they don't have to wait through the whole meeting. They're able to get their business done if they have anything, to say to the commission or whatever. I know, Michael has already changed a lot of the agendas for like the planning, park and rec, so a lot of the other boards and commissions, and it seems to be working very well. So, that's kind of what I would like to ask you.
I think it'd be a good idea. Sometimes we've seen citizens come in and I'm not sure if they, have to wait too long, they don't want to say anything towards the end. So I think it'd be a good move on our part to take this towards the beginning so they don't have to wait as long as, and also gives the commission an opportunity to consider the comments and consider possible action on some of the things that we hear from our citizens at the beginning of the meeting.
But are they for items not on the agenda? I mean, is that what would be moving items not on the agenda, correct?
Correct.
So we wouldn't be taking action on them anyways?
No, but if per se somebody brought up an item, said, I wish the commission would address item X, Y, Z, we could talk about it and say, yes, this person is right, let's throw it on the next agenda. It gives us time to think about it and take some action. Otherwise, what we're looking at is we have other matters in our setup where the commissioners speak, and after that, it's citizens wishing to address the commission. So I think if you put it at the beginning, it gives us time to consider possible action if needed. And it lessens the weight for our citizens. I don't really see a negative to this move.
I like the change.
I think it's a good change, as long as we keep it at a 5-minute limit for speakers.
I would request that they be the same. You did 3 for the first one, you should do 3 for the second one.
Have we looked at what other municipalities do?
They're keeping the same.
3 and 3, pretty typical.
And that's, I'm okay with that too, because this is a point where people can address the commission, and they have to be a point where they recognize the time frame. If it gets to be where it's such an extended conversation, the commission during these time frames aren't obligated to respond or reply or debate. So if it's something we're putting on the agenda, we want the general public to be aware of this as well. So we need to inform, people that it'll be coming up. So during this time frame, we just have to stress that, to be respectful. This is also not a time for personal attacks. We're not here to attack employees or citizens, and to limit the questions. If you have a more detailed problem or concern, we do have staff members here that are willing to address and talk in detail. They're willing to set up meetings with that. So I'm in support of this.
I'll make a motion, we approve the change to our rules of order as described in our packets.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Mayor Corcoran to approve changing the order of business for the city commission agendas. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Do a roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
No.
Semo,
Yes,
Sim,
No.
Corcoran.
Yes.
it needs a 2/3 vote to pass. Am I correct?
That I don't know.
I saw that somewhere.
That's if you want to suspend your rules.
Here, here.
If you want to suspend your rules,
Oh,
you have
okay,
to.
you're correct. All right. It isn't 2/3 to pass this change, it's 2/3 if you want to change it during the
And you
meeting.
can suspend them and, change it, if you really want to do that. It's just a guideline for you guys.
Regarding clarification, I believe passed.
Motion passed. We make the changes. Noted item M. Takes us to item N. Discuss and consider approving resolution 014-012, City of Ironwood Farmer and Artisan Market.
Thank you. The resolution before you today will just clarify the farmers and artisan market that will be taking place this summer and in future summers. And specifically, it talks about the fee that will be set during the fee resolution when you approve your budget. Kind of the difference between what this fee is for. Specifically, the fees for the farmers and artisan market will go towards advertising and promotion of the market. It'll also exempt those vendors from the transient merchant fee that's required within the code in Chapter 20. So that's kind of what this resolution does. If you have any questions, I can answer them at this time.
Do the fees just go into the general fund?
Right, I mean, they'll just go to the general fund, but we'll keep track of them because they'll be specifically used for the advertising and promotion of the market. So for radio spots or newspaper advertisements or producing signs to direct people to and from the area.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as described in item N.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Sim to approve resolution 014-012 as noted in item N. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes,
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item O, discuss and consider awarding bids for the sale of Old World Meats equipment.
Attached is the recommending awarding the bids as described in the bid tab for the overall sale equipment. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
I've been at this for a while, I think.
I'll make a motion, we approve the awarding the bids as described in the bid sheet associated with item O.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve awarding the bids for the sale of Old World Meats equipment as described in item O. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can you do a roll call?
Semo,
Yes,
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item P, we removed item P, takes us to item Q, discuss and consider authorizing advertising to bid for 2014 street pavement markings.
And every year, the city does our pavement markings, is the center line stripes, the plot lines around town. Every other year, we do a full pavement striping project. We did that last year, so this will be an interim one. We kind of just touch up the lines that need it. So with your approval, we go out for bids, bring that back to the commission, and get that awarded. We try to get this done before July. So with that, we move forward. It's in the budget.
make Make a motion, we authorize the advertisement to bid as described in item 2.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower, to authorize advertising to bid for 2014 street pavement markings. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item R, discuss and consider approving resolution 014-013 for payment of invoices for water system improvements in the amount of $1,630,484.17 to be reimbursed with proceeds from loans from USDA Rural Development and the amount of $43,681.96 to be paid from existing city funds associated with Ironwood Utility Project Phase 3, water system improvements and refinancing of 2010A water bonds.
Again, all these items are going to be associated with our Phase 3 work, which again, just as a reminder, includes Phase 1 and 2 of the US 2 project, and also the neighborhood north of US 2, the water and sewer project that's been awarded for some construction. There's also a few streets over in Nori that funding available would get some additional work done. But with that, I'll probably just turn it over to Paul. I don't know if you want to just touch base briefly on each of these items as they go through and give a little background on it.
Certainly. The first one here is for the water system. In your packet, there's a lot of detail. What this is going to be paying is expenses that we've incurred to date throughout the project. The majority of it being, majority of the work done in engineering, and then we are also refinancing one of our 2010 bonds. With that, I guess I can answer any questions that you have.
And Paul, maybe the refinancing, the reason for that, to get a lower interest rate.
Oh, sure, yeah. With the 2010 bonds, we were paying 4% interest rate. These new bonds will be 2%. No significant savings.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution described in item R.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 014-013 as noted in item R. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item S, discuss and consider approving resolution 014-014 for payment of invoices for sewer system improvements in the amount of $1,943,055.75 to be reimbursed with proceeds from loans from USDA Rural Development in the amount of $61,036.96 to be paid by existing city funds associated with the Ironwood Utility Project Phase 3, sewer system improvements, and refinancing of 2010A sewer bonds.
Pretty much the same thing as the water. Again, the water and sewer pretty much mimic each other with the differences in cost. But again, a lot of engineering was done up front, some minor fees in some other areas, and the big portion being the refinancing of the 2010 Series A bonds. Same reduction, 4% interest rate to 2% interest rate.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as described in item S.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 014-014 as noted in item S. Any further discussion or concerns on the item? Roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item T, discuss and consider approving loan resolution 014-015 for incurring indebtedness with USDA for sewer system project in the amount of $1,712,000.
So this is going to be the 2014 Series A bond. The next item on there is going to be, the total amount is going to include 2014 Series B and 2014 Series C. We're going to have one project, but we have to do 3 bonds. We're going to do one refi bond, which is going to be 2014 Series B, and then the 2014 Series A and the Series C bonds are for the actual project costs for this Phase 3 project. And that's going to be for 2014 and 15 construction.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution described in item T.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 014-015 as noted in item T. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Kayer,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item U, discuss and consider approving loan resolution 014-016 for incurring indebtedness with USDA for sewer system project in the amount of $3,853,000.
Again, this large amount contains both 2014 Series B and C bonds. The B bond being the refinancing, just to give you an idea of that amount, is $1,687,000.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 14-016 as described.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, second by Commissioner Semo to approve resolution 014-016 as noted in item U. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Kayer,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item V,
I
discuss.
just brought a point out, I'm sorry about that. With that sewer bond, I believe there was a grant portion associated with that.
That is correct. Yes, the grant, we actually received a small grant, a large grant, small compared to the total price of this project, but a sewer grant in the amount of $611,000. That was helped.
Item V, discuss and consider approving loan resolution 014-017 for incurring indebtedness with the USDA for water system project in the amount of $1,410,000.
Kind of, the water mimics the sewer. Again, this particular item is for the 2014 Series A. The next item will be for the B and C bonds.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as described in item V.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to approve resolution 014-017 as noted in item B. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Kayer,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item W, discuss and consider approving loan resolution 014-018 for incurring indebtedness with USDA for water system project in amount of $4,328,000.
And this larger amount is for the 2014 Series B and C bonds. The B bond being the refinancing of the 2010 Series A. The refi amount, $1,396,000.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as described in item W.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to approve resolution 014-018 as noted in item W. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Kayer,
Yes.
Semo,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. And we have amended our agenda to add item W1. Consider resolution 014-019 recognizing Friends of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park as a non-profit organization for the purpose of obtaining a gaming license for a raffle.
So the Friends of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park has existed since 2009, and during that time we functioned by memberships and donations and a lot of volunteer work, and we are in the process of purchasing a groomer for the ski trails, and our ski trails are our most important thing right now. So we would like to start a raffle, which would help get us the money for that. So we would like you to approve the resolution to recognize the Friends of the Miners Memorial Heritage Park as a nonprofit for that process of the raffle.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as described in item W1.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Sim to approve resolution 014-019 as noted in item W1. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Power,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to wait so long.
Item X, consider adopting ordinance number 503-5, an ordinance to provide for the issuance and sale of revenue bonds and revenue refunding bonds to provide for acquisition, construction, and equipping of improvements and extensions to the water supply system to serve the city of Ironwood.
So the ordinance is basically the meat and potatoes behind all of these, the projects. So a lot of verbiage in there basically tells us what we're doing and how we're going to do it, the different accounts that we need to set up. A lot of the legal aspects of going through the bond sale process. Is there any questions on the ordinance themselves?
Paul, maybe just to add, the borrowing parameters are going to be, it's going to be a 40-year loan at 2% interest
That's
for
correct.
both water and sewer.
Correct.
How much money does the refinancing part save us? You know, going from the 4% to the 2%? Damn, good question. Substantial amount of money.
Yeah, if we look, with again, the sewer being just shy of 1.7 million and the water just shy of 1.4 million, maybe dropping that in half, that percentage in half, it's a significant amount. I don't have the number off the top of my head.
I'll warn you next time. I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as described in item X, ordinance 503.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower to approve ordinance 503, Book 5, as described in item X. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
Our lawyers look at this, right?
That is correct, and we actually use a bond attorney to go through this whole process.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
May I have a roll call?
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Power,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item Y, consider adopting ordinance number 5, Book 5, an ordinance to provide for the issuance and sale of revenue bonds and revenue funding bonds to provide for the acquisition, construction, and equipping of improvements and extensions to the sewer disposal system to serve the city of Ironwood.
Same thing with the sewer, and just so that the commission's aware, we will be traveling to Gladstone next Friday to close on these bonds. Mayor Corcoran's already aware because she will be attending, but there is a lot of parties that need to go. The city attorney, city government attorney as well, and our bond attorney will be traveling there as well. So we'll be closing on that next Friday.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 504 as described in item Y.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower to approve ordinance number 504, Book 5, as described in item Y. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Power,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item Z, discuss and consider awarding a bid for an angle boom attachment to be placed on a skid steer for sweeping city streets and sidewalks.
In your packet, we explained why we need this. It's very self-explanatory. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've been talking about it. But it'll help our sleeper in the spring, help clean off our sand and debris on the side of the road. In the winter, it'll help us during the lighter snowstorms to clean off the sidewalks, especially now that we're going to have the wider sidewalks along the highway. So we're asking you to award the bid to Miller Bradford, Leesburg, our lowest bidder.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid to Miller Bradford and Reesburg as described in item Z.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower to award bid for angle boom as described in item Z to Miller, Bradford, and Riceburg for the amount of $5,995. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
I have a question. So the other two bids were right next, like they were the same price point. Why is, do you have any idea why this one would be different?
I do.
All right.
Because of our working with Miller Bradford in the past, they are going to give us the enabling hydraulics for this product to do.
All right.
Any further questions or or concerns on this item? Can I do a roll call?
Howard.
Yes.
Care.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item double A, discuss and consider water rate adjustment for businesses in US2 Phase 1 and future Phase 2 project areas.
Well, this discussion came up at our public informational meeting last week. When the contractor comes through and starts replacing water main, this is specific to US2 right now, the old main comes out and put in a temporary above-ground water service to the residential homes and the businesses, keep them in water during the construction period. For the residential homes, it's really not an issue. We've done that in past projects. We hook them up. We do an estimated rate for them, which is real consistent with what they would pay on an annual basis, and that's how they're billed for the water usage. The businesses are a little different scenario. Again, we can't hook it up through their meter. If we hook it up through the meter, it's really not an issue. They'll pay for the water that they use. If we can't hook it up through the meter and they're paid on a estimated rate, the question came up, well, they're anticipating reduced revenue because of the construction project. And it's really not a good way to track what that reduced revenue is. It's going to be business case by case. So again, our first choice is to try to run it through their meter. We talked even with this discussion, if we do set a reduction rate, we could also give the option to the property owner to maybe put in a temporary meter if we need to, if they're really concerned with what their reduced water cost might be. But with that said, putting in a new water meter at every location is quite expensive and somewhat cost prohibitive to do that. But if someone really felt strongly about that, we could try to accommodate them. So we're talking here, it would be a situation where we can't or are unable to hook them up to their existing water meter, coming up with some kind of recognition that they will have a reduced business out there, probably some reduced water expense associated with their business. And we don't have a magic number. Is it 5%? Is it 50%? We came up with a suggestion of a 30% reduced rate to their commodity charge. There's a fixed amount that we all pay with it. There's also your commodity charge based on how much water you use. So we threw out for discussion a 30% reduction for those businesses, those private businesses that aren't able to be hooked up to a meter. We threw out for discussion, the commission, other thoughts on it.
Well, to me, it sounds like there's good business considering the hardship they might be going through with the US2 reconstruction. So I can support this as well.
I agree. Can't say much better.
Would you like in a motion, Lauren, would you like the 30% number?
We should, because that would be adjusting their rate. This would only be in the situation where we can't run through a meter.
All right. I'm not too sure how to word this, but I'll make a motion that we authorize city staff to implement a rate reduction for businesses adversely affected by the construction project. Is that good enough? Of 30%.
30%.
I don't know if that's clear.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Payer to authorize city staff to adjust the rate for businesses affected by the US2 reconstruction. Commodity charge portion of the bill by 30%.
And again, we just applied to phase 1 right now. We're also looking at phase 2. When you apply to both of those during the period during construction.
I'll include phase 2 in my motion.
And also, I know Paul has a question or comment here also. At the moment.
I think you had mentioned it just for those places that can't be metered, is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
And if they really feel strongly about this, we'll find out meter them if we can. But
Well, if they're metered, they don't fall into this.
they don't fall into this scenario, correct?
Commissioner Semo, you're still in support of your motion?
I am still in support. I did add phase 2 to it, so we need to have it seconded again.
I'll second it again.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Payer to authorize city staff to adjust the commodity charge portion of the water bill by 30% for businesses that are affected during phase 1 or 2 US 2 project if they cannot be metered. Does that sound about right? Okay. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can I do a roll call?
Care,
Yes.
Simo,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item BB, manager's report.
A few items to update the commission on. As you're aware, we still have a run policy in place, and Bob, we are going for May 19th.
That's our thought, so right now it's May 19th. Obviously, we had an earlier meeting and we prepared a water main clean on Van Busker. We did take pictures of what was in the ground. This main was split approximately 10 feet and the water main is still froze. So, are we, 10 feet of water main, not 10 feet. But anyway, so, are we jumping the gun? I don't think so. I'm hoping everything's gonna work out. The last, reading of frost was approximately 48 to 50 inches down from the surface. Anywhere from there down to 77 to 80 inches. And that's our last report. So, hopefully everything's gonna work out and it stays warm. So that's what our goal is.
Does the rain help at all?
The rain melts the surface down. We're praying that eventually the warm from the under the frost starts coming, but it's not coming real fast this year. It's just a rare year.
So we're going to go with May 19th for that date. We'll get out press releases for the newspaper, the radio, and the word of the public. Then as of the 19th, for them to call in the final reading, depending on that one, we'll get back to the normal voting process.
I was thinking that the photo that we were shown during our budget workshop could be worth giving to Larry and see if he wants to put it in the paper.
It is a very interesting picture of a frozen water main, so you want to take a look at that. All right, last week, our new waste hauler, Eagle Waste, started their refuse collection process through the city. They are, again, generally things have gone well. It's a new hauler, so there's been a little glitch here and there. As something comes up, we do pass it on to the hauler, and then they respond to that particular situation. And again, there is a new driver who routes, so they're figuring out their routes. There will be little glitches that come up. So if we do hear something, either call in or encourage people to call in to the city hall or directly to Eagle Waste, and they'll respond to that concern. Jake's Excavating has been up on 213 Bonnie Street, up there removing the debris from that site. So again, they're making good progress over the last week. As always, they still have some cleanup to do, and then they'll get on to their site restoration work, that type of thing. So, Dennis, any idea on the length of time you talked to James?
He's hoping, well, he was hoping for a 2-week time frame, so maybe by towards the end of this week, he's making pretty close.
Depending on the weather again, but they're making good progress up there. With the cold weather, with their frozen water mains, Montgomery County did declare a county-wide disaster because of the cold winter and all the expense and damage that was caused as a result of that. So the county declared, they then bumped that up to the state level. The governor and the state did approve a statewide declaration for Montgomery County, which is a good step in that direction. It doesn't really bring a lot of resources back to us. We're kind of through the heat of the moment addressing issues. Now it's more of a financial type of thing. So if they get enough expenses or claims that come to the state level, then they can move it up to a federal declaration, and that's when it triggers FEMA, and FEMA coming in and reviewing our situations and looking at funding. So we're hopeful that they're going to get up to that level. We don't know yet for sure, but we want to thank the county for taking that step and again at the state level. Two very important steps. This Thursday is a very important day. It's the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast Fundraiser. So I want to encourage everybody to go to Paganelli's and support the Kiwanis and have some good pancakes. They do a lot of really good things with the funds that they receive from that fundraiser. Over at our Department of Public Works, previously the City Commission did approve a contract to remove the fuel tanks over there. There's 3 10,000-gallon fuel tanks. And now that the weather is cooperating, getting a little better, frost is coming on the ground, a date has been picked of Wednesday, May 21st, for the contractor to come in and start that tank removal process. With the US 2 project starting here, it's going to start next week officially. We'll see, I think, work on US 2 start. They are working on the detour this week. You'll see people in town putting up signs, detour signs. They're going to be doing a little bit of spot paving on Cloud Avenue, fixing up some of that before the detour. And then as of Monday the 19th, work should start over on US 2. We'll have to shut down the detour, all the traffic, at least the eastbound traffic through the detour route. And we do have a weekly meeting with MDOT and with Snow Country. So if you do hear of any concerns or issues, pass them on to us. And we're in daily contact with them. Once a week, we'll have to sit down with all the interested parties and go through any issues or things that need to be addressed. We're also having a pre-construction meeting with Ritzel Construction. A contract has been awarded to them for the phase 3, the residential portion of our water sewer project, again, north of US 2. And we're having that pre-construction meeting this Thursday. And with their time frame, they probably will get a better handle on their start date, but we're probably looking at early June, I'm guessing, probably for a start date. But we'll get more details on that, and we'll also have a public informational meeting within the next week or so to invite the neighborhood and the public again to go through the dynamics of that project. Because again, a very, very large construction project for us this year. Downtown with the good weather, our public works staff is going to be putting out our street furniture, our benches, the flags, the waste receptacles. So over this next week, weather cooperating always, you'll see going downtown and get some of those items back in the downtown area. And I believe, I was going to see if Moni was still here, but the Miners Memorial Heritage Park group, every year they do a cleanup of the park. And I understand that's set for this coming Saturday, May 17th.
9 a.m.
At 9 a.m. And you know where they're meeting?
I think we're meeting about Hiawatha.
Hiawatha. So if anybody's interested in participating, they do a great job. They've done a great job on policing up and cleaning up a lot of the garbage and debris from the park area. That's the last one I'm going to call.
Thank you. Item CC, other matters, the limit.
Got one little thing. You mentioned that there's going to be some spot patching done on the cloud.
Correct.
Can you talk about Lake and Air?
Well, the Bacon area intersection, that will be milled and overlaid, the whole intersection also. So that will be part of what will be done this week.
Okay.
So,
That's very good news.
Just figured I'd mention another thanks to everybody at RSV staff for at the cleanup, and I thought it went very well. People did a good job with the pickup of the garbage. So. That's all I have.
Speaking of Eagle, if you drove down the roads, on garbage day, it actually looked kind of nice. We looked sort of like a little small town in suburbia with all the little mansion garbage cans. I did like it. So I'm kind of happy that there weren't just garbage bags sitting out on the road. So that's all. Yeah.
This is status.
I think it's going to work well.
Okay. Item DD, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda. 5-minute limit, please, and just a reminder to be respectful. It's not time for personal attacks, and to observe the time limit.
Thank you very much. Paul Grabowski here. 2 weeks ago, I asked a question, and nobody seemed to know the answer on it. I just want to know if anybody did any research on it. Is when the water project was going on in Jessica, Illinois, the city crew was teaching their own Wagner construction. Did the city send a bill to Wagner for labor and for equipment use? Or was that just, so what? I mean, it's thousands of dollars. Someone should be held responsible for that.
I don't have an answer for you, Paul. I said not a point where we're obligated to respond to the
Somebody should be held responsible. I mean, that mess up there at Harton's mess, I know you were on fire a little bit, but you should have been on. That mess up there in Jessica should have been covered. 2 weeks ago, when that wind was blowing, it was a pigsty up there. It was a mess. The city should, I don't know if the city went up there to clean that mess up at these people's yards. It was terrible, because that wind was blowing that stuff all over the place.
Thank you for the commission's notification, I guess. With the construction projects, again, the city hires a contractor to put in this case, water and sewer, redo the streets, that type of thing. I mean, it's their project. It doesn't mean that the city also just steps back and says, it's yours, do what you gotta do. We do coordinate with them relative to what we need to do for the project, and that is turning valves. If there's a problem, addressing it. We don't just walk away from it, we're actually partnering with the contractor. So there are times when we do have city crews that will be out there turning valves. We don't want the contractor necessarily to turn our valves. Things like that, or if there's a situation that comes up that is difficult, we go out there and address it with them. So again, our city crews aren't with the contractor all the time, and again, we try to keep it to a minimum, but there are times where, again, it's our project. They're, in this case, an extension of our city forces working on the infrastructure of the city. So there are times where we have to engage with them. We try to keep it to a minimum, because again, we don't want to spend all our time working on the project when we have other things we have to do, but there are times where our forces do have to connect with them, and there's things that we need to coordinate with them on.
And one other thing, the thing is with the library, the township opted out because they never got their representative on who they wanted to appoint. That's the township's money. That money belongs to our township. Is anybody going to be held responsible for their work, and how is that money going to be made up?
I'm just going to make a brief comment. Like I had mentioned before, that the library has budgeted to work without that funding.
I'd be happy to have a nice long conversation with you about the library.
And I'd be
It isn't
willing
going
to
to happen in the time frame.
Well, yeah.
I'd be willing to sit down with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Adjournment.
I make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Taylor, second by Commissioner Powers, to adjourn the meeting. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?